third trigonometric graph that we are going to discuss is y equals to tan x. How the graph looks like? Okay, this is my origin. Okay, now how tan x graph looks like? This is your pi by 2, this is pi, 3 pi by 2, 2 pi, 5 pi by 2, and this thing goes on. This is our x-axis. And this is our y-axis. Okay, so this is minus pi by 2, minus pi, minus 3 pi by 2, minus 2 pi, and this thing goes on. Is it clear? Now your tan x graph looks like is it clear? Now observe that this curve, this tan x graph will not intersect x equals to pi by 2. Okay? Means at x equals to pi by 2, you will not get any value of y. Y here is tan x. As I mentioned in the graph and graphical transformation, this kind of line is what called your asymptote. So in this case, x equals to pi by 2, x equals to minus pi by 2, they are the asymptote to the graph y equals to tan x. Similarly, okay, in this case also, here also it will move like this. And this thing goes on. Is it clear? Now from this graph, you can easily see that if I ask you what is the domain? What is the domain of this function? Y equals to tan x. You see, tell me, for all real values of x, will you get the value of tan x? Yes, except those points. Pi by 2, minus pi by 2, 3 pi by 2, 5 pi by 2, and this thing goes on. In this case also, minus 3 pi by 2, and so on. Is it clear? Except those points, any real value of x you choose, you will get the value of the function y equals to tan x. That is, if you choose other than this point any x, and if you draw a vertical line, it will definitely intersect the graph at some point, and intersecting the graph at some point means you are getting the real value of y. Is it clear? Therefore, what is the domain of tan x? Your domain is x belongs to any real value. Look it carefully. Any real value except those odd multiples of pi by 2. Therefore, except the odd multiples of pi by 2, which is nothing but your 2n plus 1 pi by 2. I have written n is nothing but an integer. Have you understood this? So this is the domain of tan x. Since tan x is not defined at pi by 2, 3 pi by 2, 5 pi by 2, that is why I have excluded those points. But tell me, what about your range? That is, what are the values of y in which the value of the function, y equals to tan x will lie? It is from minus infinity till Positive infinity, because if you choose a very close point to pi by 2, at that point if you draw a perpendicular, it will definitely touch the curve somewhere. So what you will say, that your y is lying between, which is nothing but your range. Your y is lying between minus infinity to plus infinity. That is, y can take any real value. Have you understood this or not? Any value you take on x other than these odd multiples of pi by 2, you will definitely get, if you draw a line perpendicular on the x-axis, if you draw a vertical line, it will definitely intersect the graph. Means you will get a real value of y. So your y here is lying from minus infinity to plus infinity. Is it clear? So this is the graph of y equals to tan x. Now the fourth trigonometric graph is y is equals to cot x. How the graph looks like? Okay. And this thing goes on. So I'm not drawing anything anymore. Okay, this is my origin O. This is pi by 2. This is pi. This is 3 pi by 2. This is 2 pi. This is 5 pi by 2. This is 3 pi, and this thing goes on. And this one is minus pi by 2, minus pi, minus 3 pi by 2, and this thing goes on. Okay. Now, how the graph of y equals to cot x looks like, just check it. It is not touching x equals to pi. Okay, x equals to pi is the asymptote to the graph y equals to cot x. Okay, it looks like this. And this thing goes on. Is it clear? So this is how your y equals to cot x graph looks like. Now, if my question comes, what is the domain of y equals to cot x? Look it carefully. What are the values of x for which you will get the value of y, real value of y? You see, you will get, if you choose any real value of x, you are going to get a real value of y except the points 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, and this thing goes on. Minus pi, minus 2 pi, and so on. Is it clear? That is, except the points, the multiples of pi, except the points which are the multiples of pi, except those points, any real value of x you choose, you are going to get a real value of y. Is it clear? Therefore, my domain will be x belongs to any real value except the multiple of pi. Is it clear? Here n is nothing but your integer. Is it clear to everyone? Now, again my question comes, what is the range? What is the maximum and minimum values of y that you will get here? Your y belongs to any real value from minus infinity to plus infinity. Have you understood this? Therefore, the domain of y equals to cot x is x belongs to any real value except the multiples of pi, and your range will be any real value. Is it clear? So this is the graph of y equals to cot x.